Hi, I've had some questions about the metric system and the units of measurement, so I thought I'd spend a little more time on it and try to clarify it and really spell it out here for you. I've listed here the different prefixes that go before the main unit of measurement for each of in the metric system, and the ones in red are ones that you'll encounter on the technician test, or at least in the question pool, and so those are the ones you need to know. In the American system, and this is what confuses people a little bit, we have inches, we have feet, and we have yards. So we have like 12 inches in a foot and 3 feet in a yard. So we actually use a different word to describe the smaller and the larger unit of measurement. The larger unit of measurement, even though we're still talking about distance, we're using inches, feet, and yards. Well, in metric, we actually have just one unit of measurement, and we just use prefixes to tell if we're talking about smaller quantities or larger quantities. And everything is based on tens, hundreds, thousands, millions. So it's actually very easy because you don't need a calculator to figure it out. Like if you want to find out how many inches are in, say, 250 feet. Well, unless you can multiply 12 times 250 off the top of your head really easily, you might need a calculator for that. In the metric system, we just need to move decimal places, and we can tell exactly what the smaller or larger unit of measurement is going to be. I've used volts as our example for today. You could replace this with amps, you could replace this with meters, grams, hertz, all sorts of different units of measurement. So that is our base unit, 1. We're going to use that as our 1 unit right now. So in this diagram, we have 1 volt. Now, we can show how many decivolts that is by moving the decimal place 1 place. Because there are 10 decivolts in a volt. So that means this is 1/10 of a volt. Alright, so 1 decivolt is 1/10 of a volt. So it's reversible kind of. You can see if you see how that works. We're moving the decimal place 1 time this way. Now we go 1 more time, and that's going to be a centivolt, which you don't hear people use, but we can say that we have a centivolt, and that's going to be 1/100th of a volt. So we've moved the decimal place 2 places. Go 3 places, we have a millivolt, 1/1000th. And if we move the decimal place 6 places, that gives us 5 zeros and a 1 to equal 1/100000th of a volt. Alright, now where this comes into play is the fact that we're not usually going to say that we have 1/100000th of a volt. What we're going to say is we have 5 microvolts. And then you're going to maybe need to find out how many volts that is, maybe for an equation or something. So if you have 5 microvolts, well, you've got to move the decimal place how many places? 6 places. So let's see if we can do this successfully here. 5 microvolts starts out like this, and we're going to move the decimal place 6 places. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think I went 1 too many. There we are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 places. That's 5 zeros in that. So 5 microvolts equals 0.000005 volts. That's why we use these. So you're going to need to sometimes find out what the base unit is knowing these things. So you need to learn that micro is 6 decimal places or 1/100000th. Milli is 3 decimal places or 1/1000th. Centa is 2 decimal places or 1/100th. And you don't need to know deci, so we won't go there. Now, going the other direction, we're going to go to larger units of measurement. There are 1,000 volts. So there's 1,000 millivolts in a volt. Well, there are 1,000 volts in a kilovolt. That makes sense? So, you know, it's kind of, this is your ground zero, if you will, and you're going to go smaller up here and you're going to go bigger up here. 1,000 volts in a kilovolt. So if you have 5 kilovolts, how many volts is that? Well, 5 kilovolts, this is 1,000, so we move the decimal place 3 places. 1, 2, 3. This would be the decimal place. So 5,000, that's 0.00. 5,000 volts. 5 kilovolts equals 5,000 volts. Does that make sense? You get to the megavolt, you're going to do a million, so you're going to go 6 decimal places. Like we did with the micro, except the other way. So you just need to keep it straight in your mind whether you're going smaller or larger, or from smaller to large, or larger to small. So what we'll do is we'll take a little break right now,